Hey guys, and this from WS Sports back with another one. América just lost the second leg of the Concachampions in Pachuca. 2-1 was the final score. And give credit to Pachuca. They played solely defensively. And usually, I know some people will call it, a chicken strategy, the coward strategy, or playing afraid. And that is to an extent true when you're solely playing defensively and not even bothering to push up. And that's what Pachuca did. But give them credit, they actually made the strategy work compared to many other teams that have tried it and have gotten thrashed by the opposing offense they face. Pachuca only had 29% possession in the game, and they somehow pulled off a win. And there was a big changing moment that enabled them to do that. And that started in the 5th minute with Garceres, the center back for América. He was the starter, had a freak injury to start the game. So he tried to recover the ball and turn and pass it. He slipped on the pitch, and based on the videos and replays, it does not look good. It looks like pretty much ACBC. He pretty much tore every CL in his knee from what it looks like. It was not a good look. He couldn't get off on the field on his own power. He had to be carried off. And that changed the way the defense functioned, because Ramon Juarez came in and he had a terrible game. Ramon Juarez had 3 fouls, a yellow card, did no shots blocked or tackles won, and then was key to at least one of, if not both, goals being conceded for against América. So he was he was at fault for this loss. Ramon Juarez looked inexperienced and frankly out of his element. So in terms of who's to blame, who's at fault for this loss, Ramon Juarez is definitely one of them, but he's not the only one. The other person I put at fault for this is head coach André Jardine. So obviously winning the Apertura in 2023 and being in the Concachampions right now, it was no surprise that we saw Club América, put more focus and energy and training on preparing for the Concachampions more than they did the Clausura, because they're going to be in the Campeón de Campeones in June anyway. So what does the Clausura matter? Let's win the big tournament and qualify for the Club World Cup, which with this result, unfortunately, they will not qualify for. Hold on, the lights just came back on, so you guys can see my face now more. And so, with that, if you're going to put more focus on the Concachampions, and that's where you're going to have your main 8-team starters, during the Clausura games, it's a good time to start younger players and give them minutes so that they build more experience. Because God forbid, should you have a moment where you will need them to step up for any scenario where it kind of gets sketchy or goes haywire, they're going to be the players you have to rely on. But Club América didn't do that throughout the Clausura. They kept playing their constant 8-team starters regardless of the game. They weren't giving younger players like Ramon Juarez as much time as they should. I'll say the same thing for Salvador Reyes, despite him being great pretty much every time they put him on the field. And, well, you get what happens today, where a young defender who came in as a replacement after a freak injury to one of your starters, who you needed to step up in this big game that's critical for going to the Concacaf final and potentially qualifying for Club World Cup, completely flopping in the game and struggling. He did not play well. Israel Reyes had a decent game. Wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. He got red carded near the end, and at that point it was pretty much a nail in the coffin because, of course, América would be down to 10 men. It was one where the Pachuca forward was about to score, so he kind of had no choice. And, well, that, it sucks. They had it. Club América had it, and again, it was a missed opportunity all around. That's all you can really say about it. And then who's the third person at fault? Let's talk about the offense. Henry Martin, the starting striker. If I had to give him a grade for this, it'd be an F. F performance from him. I no longer trust Henry Martin in any big game, scenario. Period. He was abysmal today. And once again, he showed us exactly who I thought he was. He is a system player who is hyped up and inflated by the talent of other players around him, like Julian Quiñones, who are clearly better than him. Because despite Club América struggles to penetrate through the defense, which for Pachuca, again, give them credit, played phenomenally well, they still had an opportunity to win and advance on away goal tiebreaker. Should Henry Martin have scored the one-on-one with the goalkeeper, where the goalkeeper came out way too freaking early, and Henry Martin essentially had damn near the closest thing to an open net. And what does Henry Martin do? Shoots it over the crossbar. Because he's a system player who lacks the individual talent to be a starter in championship games. Come to Copa America, I really, really hope he is not a starter. He should not be a starter. I don't trust him in the big games. I'd rather see Raul, despite him just starting to come off injury, start rather than Henry, should they, God forbid, decide not to once again start Santi Jimenez. Because at least Raul, in those scenarios, would not completely choke and gag it away, like Henry just did. So, give credit to Pachuca, despite only having 29% possession, playing what is usually the fear strategy of only defense. They made it work. They won the game. They won the aggregate. And América, once again, will have to really reflect on potentially giving starting time to younger players. Specifically, Ramon Juarez, Salvador Reyes, and even maybe some of the youth guys. So that way they don't have this scenario where a freak accident happens, a freak injury happens, and then when you have to rely on your young players, they won't look completely out of their element in that scenario. And then offensively, they might need to look for a striker, because Henry Martin, during regular league games, yeah, he's good when he gets clean assists from other players. But in the big games like this, once again, he crumbled under the pressure. So, yeah, Ramon Juarez, definitely at fault. Overall, my review, Ramon Juarez definitely at fault. Was a key player involved in that major error that resulted in one or two of the goals. one or both of the goals. Let me correct myself there. He did not play well. 3 fouls, a yellow card, no shots blocked, no tackles won. Chicote didn't play very well either. I'll say the same thing for him. He played very, very mid. And I would have rather seen Salvador Reyes get the starting time again. Javairo, I don't know why he wasn't put in the game at all. I would have loved to see him, because the minute Pachuca started playing defensively and they were not pushing up, that's when they should have put him in. But they didn't. And that's where I give Andre Jardine blame and part of the responsibility for this loss. You know, lack of preparing your younger players and giving them minutes so that come these moments, they're ready. Not putting in the right players when Pachuca was solely playing defensively. And then Henry Martin, who because he's at this point at 31 years old, this is the player he is. They need to maybe find a new striker, a new young Mexican striker to lead the team, because Henry Martin in these big moments can no longer do so, and he no longer has my confidence or trust. So yeah, so with that, Club América unfortunately will not qualify for the Club World Cup next year. They won't win the Concachampions this year. It stings, because they had the roster, they had the better team, they had the best roster and team overall throughout the tournament. But again, their star striker choked one. An inexperienced defender had to come in amid a freak injury. And then, yeah, the coaching in terms of preparing for these games and just the games in general wasn't the best. It wasn't ideal. As for Pachuca, again, congratulations to them. They are in the final. It will be interesting to see what happens now, because now they're waiting to see tomorrow who they will play against. And it'll either be Monterrey or Columbus Crew. I think they're hoping for a Columbus Crew win. If Columbus Crew wins, I think they'll be okay. If Monterrey wins and they play Monterrey in the final, I don't trust the strategy that they had today to be successful in the final, especially against another top team with depth. Brandon Vasquez, Arteaga, Gallardo, Jordi Cortizo. That's a much stronger. That's another stronger matchup, and it's much stronger than Columbus Crew. And playing solely defensively, I feel, would just be playing with fire. So it'll be interesting to see what they plan based on who they play. And then as for tomorrow's game, I think it'll be interesting. If I had to give a prediction, I do think that Monterrey will still come out on top. I do think they are a better team. And again, Columbus Crew really is lucky to be here at this point, just because they were a penalty shootout away against Tigres from not being at this point in the tournament. So, and again, one thing that's also historically true, and it's a trend within the Concacaf, is that MLS teams don't do well on the road. I believe this is a road game for Columbus Crew. I think it will be in Mexico. And if that's the case, I don't trust Columbus Crew, because MLS teams usually crumble on the road, and especially in Mexico. We saw that with Inter Miami. We've seen that with several other teams that have been in the Concachampions or have played it in the or have played against Liga MX teams in the past. So I think Monterrey will find a way to just squeak this one out. I think they will advance. And then I think the final matchup could be Pachuca versus Monterrey. So we'll see if that ages well, see if that's correct. Yeah, tough loss for Club América. A really abysmal result. One that's going to disappoint the fans. But, yeah, I guess that's part of the game. And now they need to focus on the clausura and hopefully win the bicampeonato. So we'll see. Leave a like and subscribe. Definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, we'll be back next year for the Concachampions, I guess. And arriba el América para la clausura de 2024.